Hello, my name is Mike Perez, and I have the great fortune of serving as the Associate Vice Chancellor and Chief Facilities Officer for Vanderbilt University. Congratulations and welcome to all incoming first-year students. Welcome back all rising upperclassmen and women, and finally, welcome parents. Certainly hope that all of you are healthy and safe during this highly unprecedented time for our communities, our country, and the world. Well, thank you for attending our first construction town hall for the 2020-2021 academic year. Because of the magnitude and duration of the West End neighborhood and residential college's capital program and its proximity to residential living, my office has been hosting these town halls during the academic year as a forum to meet with student residents in order to inform you of current and projected construction activities. It has also been a wonderful opportunity for us to listen to any concerns or suggestions you may have so that we can attempt to adjust our construction means and methods. We totally understand that construction activities pose various levels of inconvenience. We do our best to minimize this inconvenience and have found that the dialogue we've created with students about our construction in these town halls has been extremely and mutually beneficial. Students are informed of what is occurring, what to expect over the next weeks or months, and then we in turn receive feedback that we wouldn't otherwise have. Typically, we would have the first town hall a few days after students have settled into rooms and before the start of classes. This year, two conditions exist that have resulted in our decision to have a session prior to your arrival. The first, because many first-year students will reside in Carmichael Towers this year, we think it important to meet with you prior to your arrival so that you would know what to expect when you get here and to introduce you to how we operate and communicate on construction-related issues. Secondly, because of the pandemic and to avoid gatherings, and given that we are Zoom experts or think we're Zoom experts as long as Zoom works, having this virtual town hall allows us to connect with you prior to your arrival. I am joined today by Mark Petty, our Assistant Vice Chancellor of Plant Operations, Bob Grummon, our Project Manager for our residential colleges in the West End Neighborhood Program, and Sean Farrell, the Senior Project Manager for Layton Construction. I might add that Layton has been a great partner, not only for being highly proactive and considering ways to minimize disruption, but is aware of and joins my organization as well as the universities in possessing a strong desire to create as positive a collegiate experience for you, our students. I will provide a quick overview of the program and why this construction activity. Bob and Sean will share details of construction, and then Mark will provide information about the status and condition of the Carmichael Towers. Finally, many of you have sent questions, and towards the end of the session, we'll address a few of those most frequently asked. So what about the residential college experience? Well, it is a type of student residence where the academic experience is integrated into the residential living. It's creating communities and opportunities for learning outside the classroom among a diverse student body. Elements that are unique include faculty heads of house living in the residence halls. It is an intentional and mutually beneficial educational experience for our students, faculty, and staff, where it does promote the development of intellect, self-discovery, community, cultural awareness, and personal well-being. The facilities we are constructing within this capital program are designed to maximize this experience. Regarding the West End neighborhood, well, the reimagination of the West End neighborhood is a component of future VU, the university's campus master plan, with the goal of enhancing the neighborhood, giving it a more park-like feel, and creating a positive community atmosphere. Now, the especially exciting news for you, after 2 years of massive amounts of underground utility work, installation of retaining walls to create walkways that allow for accessible movement, as well as landscape beautification, the West End neighborhood portion of this big capital program was completed this summer. We are excited that you'll be able to freely enjoy this wonderful space. Now, as part of the capital program, 4 new residential colleges will have been constructed along West End Avenue. We started construction activities in 2016. The first residential college was E. Bronson Ingram College, and we'll conclude the entire program by 2024. So here's a rendering of what the residential colleges will look like along West End Avenue. And as regards the West End neighborhood, the end goal is to beautify, enhance, and make more inclusive and accessible the West End neighborhood, as well as create spaces for student-led gatherings and events. Well, here are some before and after images of the West End project. This gives you a sense of the amazing transformation for what I think is an industrial and stark-looking environment that you see on the left here, to one that is beautiful, enticing, inclusive, and accessible on the right. In this next slide, again, notice the abrupt transformation. The image on the left, previously a street, signaling that cars are prominent within the campus core, to what I think is a much better image on the right, which is reclaiming this critical space for a much higher and best use in alignment with our goals. Lastly, this slide illustrates the transformation of the second residential college. The image on the left represents the site about 2 years ago where Carmichael Towers 3 and 4 stood and where the Zeppos College started. On the right slide, you have the same vantage point, but you can see where Carmichael Towers 3 and 4 have been demolished. And the Zeppos College, other than the tower, is complete. The tower will be completed this spring. Well, I'm sure by now you're tired of hearing from me, so I'll now turn the program over to Bob Grummon and Sean Farrell, who will talk to you about the construction activity. Bob?
Great. Thank you, Mike. Really exciting project and really happy to be part of it. Let me introduce Sean Farrell, who is with Layton Construction and my counterpart on this endeavor. Sean?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good. Well, so Sean and I work hand in hand on this effort, and we have completed Residential College A, or Zeppos College. I apologize, Zeppos College, and we're working on the tower portion now. And we've started Residential College B. The good news is we've been working at it since June of last year. We have completed demolition. We have completed blasting. We've completed rock excavation and rock hammering, all of which are the noisy and dust producing parts of a project. Where we are now, through a lot of hard work, is working on the concrete frame. So at this point, we've poured foundations for Residential College B. We have poured foundation walls and we've poured columns. We're getting ready to pour the first floor slab and basement floor slabs here in the next month or two. All of that is good news because it's relatively quiet work, and it continues to be relatively quiet work up through the rest of the concrete frame and the exterior skin, all of which will be occurring over the next 2 years as we finish up Residential College B. Mike, if you could progress to the next slide. Wanted to talk about a few things which will be important for you to know and understand, and we'll try to talk through the whys. Again, Residential College B is ongoing, completes in the summer of 2022. The image on the left shows you a view from Carmichael on about the 4th floor. We were there a few days ago looking at all the updates we've been doing in that building to prepare it for your arrival. Looking out onto the job site. And maybe Sean, you could talk a little bit about what's going on for everybody.
Sure. Thank you, Bob. First off, I want to welcome all of the returning students and a special welcome to our new students or our freshmen coming in. As I navigate through where we're at on the project, I want to make it very clear to all of you, anyone who's on the call, to include parents, that Layton Construction specifically has a goal where your experience here is the absolute trump for anything else. We want to make sure your experience here is absolutely the best it can be. We realize that we're a situation where we're building all these brand new, beautiful buildings that will you'll all get a chance to occupy or look, see. But our first and main goal is to ensure your experience in the college life is not interrupted to a point where it's not fun. So it's real important for me to make sure that I express that, and hopefully I'll display that, and my team will display that over time when you get here. A couple of things that we do have going on. Take the picture on the left. One of the things that we're very excited about is that we are bringing the building and B out of the ground now. Concrete structure is coming. So what we can expect up until the Thanksgiving break is large concrete pours that will help bring this building where it needs to be. Along with that, the tower that's connected to the Zeppos College you'll see the masonry work continue up past the 9th floor. We have a schedule to complete that in May of 2021. We see no indication why we wouldn't be able to maybe even better that, but that's our target currently. And then one of the other areas that Bob will talk a little bit more to you about is ensuring that through construction and all the traffic we have, that it does not impede what you're trying to accomplish, to include all your traffic patterns in and out of the Carmichael Towers and Zeppos College. So he'll show you that map here in a few minutes, but we've thought long and hard about that, and we believe that we have good pathways that are very easy and visible and easy to navigate.
Thank you, Sean. So a couple of key pieces of information. Construction starts at 7 a.m. every Monday through Friday, weather permitting. We do occasionally work on Saturdays, starting at 9 a.m. We have pushed those construction hours back from their original starting times, primarily in an effort to satisfy student demand of starting a little bit later in the day. We can't start any later than that for risk of not being able to get the project done. But 7 a.m., we're kind of getting our day going. It's not terribly noisy at that time, and we're going to get started. We are using sound measuring devices on the job site and maintaining a safe level and within guidelines from the city of Nashville for what's acceptable for noise from a job site. It's important to know that although you will hear occasional bangs and trucks backing up, the noise we generate on the site is generally not any louder than traffic noise, and becomes background noise very, very quickly. So I wanted to, the other piece of information that we do take really, really to heart, and Sean and I share these with each other and try to figure out how to resolve them, is the email address listed at the bottom of this page. It is construct_alerts@vanderbilt.edu. Every one of those emails, and I've gotten several so far already, even though you're not here yet, asking a variety of questions, but they all come directly to me. They're copied to a few other folks, but they do come directly to me, and I answer them all typically within an hour or two, if at all possible, and always within a day. So please let me know if there's something that you think I can help you with, construction related, and I will do the best I can along with the team here in campus planning and facilities and at Layton Construction to address your issue. Understand that your safety is number one for us, and your well-being as well. So, this next slide shows circulation, and what's important to note here, you can see that the job site for Residential College B, kind of top middle of the drawing. The hatched area below and to the right is laydown area. So that all of that area is fenced in and has screening on it to try to contain the job site and keep it as visually attractive as we can. For foot traffic, which is how you'll be getting around the campus most of the time. We're showing directional arrows to indicate, clean, easy paths from Carmichael to Alumni Lawn, which will then get you into the heart of the old campus, or going directly south down past the West Side Row houses into the newer parts campus, into Rand and Surratt for dining. Also below us or south of us, south of Carmichael, is West End neighborhood, which Mike mentioned earlier in the presentation. I would invite you to explore that area. It is beautiful, and the university is very proud of that effort, and really wants you to explore it. And if you choose to head on down to the west, you can visit Zeppos College, which is open and students are moving into now. So that's it on circulation. Communication, this is really an important piece of the puzzle, and one we hope that you will participate in with us. We will automatically enroll you into the West End Neighborhood newsletter. You'll get that merely by living in Carmichael Tower, and so that will be a little newsletter you get every month or two as new information comes out. You'll also find articles in My VU, which comes out about every other day, every 3 days. And sometimes there's some construction items in there if there's something we need to distribute immediately. You'll get emails from O'Hare, which is the Office of Housing and Residential Experience. They have a lot of information. On top of that, if it just can't wait, or you feel it's incredibly important, we have a hotline. So please feel free to call that number. We do have a person who is there all the time, and they will either relay your message directly to me or to somebody else here in facilities to have you taken care of. Again, it is really important that we do the best we can to make this construction the best experience for you. And again, there's the email address. There's also a website you can log into. The difference between those two addresses, one of them will tell me what helps me is to know where you're coming from. Hey, I'm in Carmichael on the 4th floor, and I just want you to know that this is the quietest day I've ever experienced in this building, and I just want you to know. Or, hey, it's a little noisy, and I've got a test tomorrow. Is there anything we can do? Can you help me out? We'll do everything we can within reason to get you taken care of. And I do want you to know that Sean and I and the rest of facilities, this is our main job. We are here to help and want to know what's going on. So with that, I think that's it for communications. We're going to talk a little bit about Carmichael Tower and want you to know kind of a little bit about the building you're moving into. We did indeed plan to demolish those 2 towers this past summer. We did not do that. We didn't because as the pandemic spread and more information became available, the university made a very hard decision to delay construction and create more bed space for students. And so Carmichael Tower 2 will have all singles for all freshmen. The idea being that way you've all got space and you've all got a single to be in, which the university feels is very, very important whenever possible. So we've done that. We do want to make sure that everybody knows that that the buildings, Carmichael Towers, have age and they have character. They were built in the 50s, 60s, but structurally, mechanically, health-wise, there's nothing wrong with those buildings. Very, very sound, solid buildings. We have renovated them over the summer. We've replaced a good bit of the floor finishes. We've painted the building. We've also gotten into the mechanical system and we've cleaned it. And a lot of this is just the normal stuff we do to a dormitory or a residence hall over the summer. And Mark is going to talk a little bit about that when he comes on. So we haven't done anything super unusual, but we have cleaned it up a little bit more for you. knowing how important this experience will be. I think with that, that is the end of Carmichael Towers discussion, and I'll turn this over to Mark Petty with plant operations.
Thank you, Bob. Yeah, as Mike said earlier in the presentation, my name is Mark Petty. I am the Assistant Vice Chancellor for Plant Operations. Plant Operations has responsibility for all of the maintenance, housekeeping, and grounds for the university. The normal course of a summer, the Plant Operations team, along with O'Hare, the Office of Housing and Residential Education, would go through the dormitories, inspect the dormitories, and actually make up a list of things that need to be happening to ensure that we're clean, code compliant, and operating properly. Along with the normal cleaning of the towers, changing of filters, fixing of damaged spaces in the room. This year was very different because we added several layers of additional cleaning and disinfecting of all spaces within the Carmichael Towers. These activities took place just in the last month and have the towers in very good shape and ready to go. Throughout the rest of the school year, we will be going through all these spaces, the dormitories and our academic and administrative areas, with a disinfection team of 15 full-time employees doing nothing but disinfecting high-touch areas, doorknobs, handrails, elevator buttons, bathroom fixtures. On a normal basis, the routine basis, the plant operations custodial staff will be cleaning public bathrooms on a daily basis. And this is true in Carmichael Tower 2 also. We will provide 7-day-a-week service with cleaning of those spaces every day. Students will also have access to cleaning and disinfecting supplies throughout the day, throughout the week, if they decide that they need to disinfect or clean a space themselves. As Bob was saying, we have invested in a great deal of paint and carpet and finish to spruce up the towers, and it's looking very good right now. Can I have the next slide, please? We had several questions about pest control, and the university uses integrated pest management process, which is environmentally and sustainably friendly. To make this the most effective process, it is advised that you keep your food sealed up and put away. You take your trash out daily, and you keep your spaces, your rooms and your public spaces clean so that it will reduce the attraction of pests. We do spray within private spaces upon request, and when we do come into those spaces, we do leave a service notice telling you when we were there, who was there, and what they did. We did have a higher number of pest control requests last year in the Carmichael Towers, but we believe this was a result of the demolition of Carmichael West and the infrastructure, utilities infrastructure construction work that we were doing within that West End neighborhood. We're hoping that with all of that finished, we will see a clean bill of health for the pest control in Carmichael Towers. Next slide, please. We've had a lot of questions about ventilation across the campus, and we wanted to assure you that the ventilation within the residence halls are aligned with the protocols and guidelines of the CDC and the American Society of Heating, Refrigerating, and Air Conditioning Engineers, ASHRAE. Our current standards exceed those recommended by CDC for COVID prevention of within air transmission. We have CDC recommends 4 exchanges per hour, and we are double that in Carmichael Towers. Along with that, we will also have keep the temperatures at between 68 and 76 degrees with a relative humidity of 45 to 50%. Next slide, please. So there's been questions also about what happens if somebody, a student, were to become positive with COVID-19. That student would be moved to an on-campus self-isolation space where they would be self-isolating in a room by themselves within the campus. We would then wait 24 to 72 hours after the student had moved out of the space. That is to allow as much of the virus to die off naturally without us having to go in and expose anybody else to possible exposure. The Dean of Students, O'Hare office, would go in and remove personal items, toothbrushes, dishes. They would be using the proper PPEs, face mask, gloves. Then the plant operations teams, also using the PPEs, would begin the disinfection. The entire space will be cleaned using EPA standard approved cleaning products. We use a product called Oxivir. It is a hospital grade disinfectant. We will also then go through that space within that floor, disinfecting all the high touch areas with these same products. There will be daily disinfecting of these spaces, along with cleaning of these spaces, not within student rooms. We do not clean within student rooms unless requested to do so, but we will be disinfecting all high touch areas. After we have come in and disinfected the space, it can be reoccupied within 12 hours. And this is just a waiting period to allow any moisture within the disinfectant to dry and any odors that might be associated with it, as slight as they might be, to dissipate. Can I have the next slide, please? You'll also find as you go into the residence halls that we have laid out circulation plans, and we've put up signs encouraging people to be socially distanced, to wear their mask, giving guidelines to elevators and restrooms and other public spaces so that folks will be safe. We hope that your experience here will be a happy, safe, and fulfilling one, and we are committed to doing all we can to make that happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that, as well as Bob and Sean. A number of you have sent in or had sent in questions prior to the town hall, and we've acquired them and have collected them and grouped them, because all of them were pretty consistent in nature as to what they were asking. So we'll take some of these, and I will ask folks here amongst the panel, if you will, to address some of these questions. So the first one will be for you, Mark. And there were a number of questions about ventilation in the HVAC systems. So there was one here that reads, please address adequacy of ventilation and filtration in the towers, as I'm assuming that windows may not be open.
Thank you, Mike. Yes, as we were saying earlier, ventilation within the towers is an important issue for both health of the building and for comfort. We do use a MERV 14 filter within the building systems, and a MERV 7 filter in the rooms. In the previous slide that I showed, the fan coil units show the cleanliness of the coils that we performed over the summer, and the new filters that were installed right after that. This is 50-year-old equipment. It is not as efficient as it was when we first installed, but it's still very effective. As far as opening the windows is concerned, the windows will be operable. You are able to open those windows to let in more fresh air. We would highly encourage you to do that if that's what you would like to do. We just do ask that you would close them in inclement weather and when you are feeling comfortable with the indoor airspace. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mark. Here's another one. Since you're on a roll, Mark, I'll give you another question or two if that's okay with you. And this next question, there were a number about the cleaning protocols, and you went over in, I think, a good way in the presentation what we do. But is there anything else that you would like to say about the emphasis that we will have this year as regards cleaning and disinfecting?
Thank you very much, Mike. Yes, I want to reemphasize that beyond our normal cleaning, we will, which is a daily cleaning of all public spaces and a weekly cleaning of the private spaces within suites and residential faculty spaces. We will be doing disinfecting on a daily basis throughout the residence halls, both in the public bathrooms, the lobbies, and all high-touch areas. We are also very much available to come and address issues when they are we are made aware of those. So we have committed ourselves to having clean and disinfected dorms. We are committed to having a safe environment for students to study and learn here. All of our public spaces within academic and administrative areas will also be disinfected twice a day, along with their normal cleaning. We will have over 1,000 hand sanitizers throughout campus. We will also have disinfecting wipes for students as they go into classrooms. And we will make disinfectant products available for students in dorms, residence halls, to use as they see that they need. We are committed to your safety and your health, and we will do all we can to make that happen.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
One last question for you, Mark, because there's been a lot of questions about the towers. And it says, is it true that there was a lot of graffiti and destruction left behind in Carmichael Towers last year, especially given the fact, as Bob mentioned, they were scheduled for demolition?
Thank you, Mike, for that question. As of right now, we are not aware of any destruction of the building or graffiti. And if there was any graffiti, we've painted over it. If there was any damage to the building, we have repaired it and had it ready for your occupancy starting next week. So I believe we're as close to ready as we're going to get. Thank you very much, Mike.
Thanks, Mark. Bob and Sean, here's a question for you. In what ways will the university mitigate excessive dust, noise, and other construction disruptions to peace and safety?
Right. Why don't I start? And if I don't cover something, well, Sean will chime in. First, I will say that as a team, we all went over to Carmichael to experience some concrete pours last year or 2 years ago. And we've been over this year to do the same. It is remarkable the different, first it's remarkable how quiet it is. It's not completely quiet, but it's quiet. If you have your window open, it's a little bit louder. So keeping the window closed will help. It'll also keep, if there is dust, it'll keep the dust out of your room. For dust control, I will say this: most of the dust producing activities are complete. Right? We have finished with blasting. We have finished with the rock hammering and the demolition kind of activities. Those are the heavy dust producers. Those are the heavy pollutant producers. At this point, we're pouring concrete, which doesn't produce a whole lot of dust. If we do develop a dust issue, which we don't expect to, we will address it with water, which will control the dust and keep it on the site. For noise, what we typically do if we have a problem or if we anticipate a problem, we will put up baffles around the equipment that is loud and redirect the noise or muffle the noise to limit it with your studies and your notices to us. So that is what we're doing for dust and noise.
Anything to add, Sean?
Bob pretty much covered all of it. I think that the dust control, he's spot on. If there's anything that we'll watch closely, and that's our truck traffic, our concrete trucks and any other vehicles. But when you all arrive to the campus and start getting settled in, you'll notice that there's not a lot of traffic even around the construction, just simply because there's not enough room. So most truck traffic's coming off West End Avenue, and that's it. So I would agree with and concur with everything Bob has explained.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay. So Lastly, we just want to reemphasize, as Bob had mentioned earlier, that we want you to contact us. And so you can see here, if you have any additional questions or suggestions, please go to this URL. And then likewise, if you want any ongoing updates, you can see this here. We will be posting this recording. We'll be sending this recording to a number of you and posting it so that you can have all the information that we've shared with you today. So lastly, once again, we thank you for attending the town hall, and I hope it was informative for you so that you know what to expect when you arrive on campus, and that you know what construction activity will be in place, and then equally important, know the benefits of why we're doing this. It's also important that you know how we're going to communicate with you, and so hopefully we've been successful in sharing all this with you. I do want to reinforce what Bob, Sean, and Mark have stated repeatedly throughout this presentation, and that is that we take very, very seriously our efforts to maximize your positive experience next year, as illustrated by these gentlemen, and having had this experience with them since 2016, we have really fine-tuned our delivery of construction activity, where we're able to produce, I think, wonderful results in doing such, where we have really minimized the disruption to the student population. So please don't ever hesitate to contact us if you have concerns or issues or suggestions. We do want to hear from you. So for those traveling, that will be traveling here in Nashville, please do so safely as you journey to Vanderbilt University. Have a wonderful day. And lastly, anchor down. Thank you.